Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And what I'm going to be telling you about in this video is a classic example of how the fake news in South Africa operate. Let me give you a bit of the background, and you can check this on my videos that are on this channel, and you'll see it's all correct that I've got there. But this is how the mainstream media in South Africa put their spin on the whole thing. Okay, now let me give you the background. A few weeks ago, in Senekal, the minority groups, which included blacks, whites, Indians, were protesting about farm murders following the murder of Brendan Horner, a 21-year-old at Paul Roo, which is very close to Senekal. And they were protesting because two of the suspects who were caught were seeking bail. Now, one of those suspects was later given bail. Now remember, this is only a few weeks ago. And the one who was given bail is now back behind bars because he was caught stealing livestock. And what happened at this protest that the farmers put on to try and say, hey guys, you can't let these guys go out and bail. And this fellow was let out in 5,000 Rand bail, which is about $350 US, believe it or not. But what happened was that the economic freedom fighters, through their leader Julius Malema, bought into this protest, and they basically bought thousands of people, black people, to come in and be part of the EFF crowd. They were actually bribed. They were given money to attend this protest at the same time that the farmers of all colors were protesting about farm murders in that same town. Now, most of those farmers were white farmers. And on that day, sitting in the court in Senekal was Julius Malema and the police minister, Brackenfell, side by side talking in the courthouse on the day that this bail hearing was going to be heard. The whites had been excluded. They couldn't come anywhere near. The police actually had all their cars parked around so that the white protesters who were given different parts of Senekal to gather in were not allowed to come into the courthouse. So, situation number one. You have the police minister sitting down with Julius Malema, who heads up a terrorist organization which is called a political party, and it's a racist terrorist organization, and I'll tell you why. Just after Brackenfell and Julius Malema had been sitting there in the courthouse talking, Julius Malema went up on stage in front of his bought-in followers, and he proclaimed through song, "Kill the Boer," which is one of their favorite songs they do. But of course, that is not racism, is it? And that's not hate speech, is it? No. Wrong color. Sorry, guys. Slap my wrist. Okay. You can't be a racist if you are a black African. And after Malema made his speech, one of his senior lieutenants got up there and sang in song that the farmers' lands should be burnt and the farmhouses should be burnt. Rather like what happened at the end of the Boer War back in 1902, when the British basically laid waste to the farms of the Boers just to make them concede. A couple of days after this call for Boer farms to be burnt, hundreds of thousands of acres in the western part of the Free State were burnt to the ground, including farmhouses. Now, we're just talking a few weeks ago. This isn't something that happened 10 years ago or 5 years ago. This only happened a few weeks ago. Economic freedom fighters inciting violence. South African Human Rights Commission, missing in action, never ever questioned anything that was sung that day. Plenty of evidence of it. It's all over the internet if you go and look. That takes us to Brackenfell High School. What happened at Brackenfell High School is that the school said that because of COVID-19, it was not going to have a matric dance. So, being innovative, a few of the parents privately said, look, we'll go and hold a school dance at someone's house, which is what they organized. Every single matriculant at Brackenfell High School was invited, regardless of color. They were all invited. There was one catch. Because it was a private event, every student who attended had to pay 500 Rand to cover drink, food, DJ, whatever. And apparently you still have to do that even if it's organized by the school. But as a result, the only people who turned up for this particular function were white students. Now, don't let the truth get in the way of an opportunity to cause shit. Because what then happened was the economic freedom fighters heard about this private party, blamed it on the school, and said that the Brackenfell High School was racist. And they were going to go and protest outside the school. And they did. And the videos are on this channel. You can go and see them. Now, you can imagine if you're a parent at that school, after what happened in Senekal, you're going to be saying, not on my watch. I'm not going to have my children being put under threat by this terrorist organization. And that is what they are. They are terrorists. So, when the parents heard that the economic freedom fighters were planning a protest right up to their school, they said, well, we're not going to go home and leave our kids under threat, because the kids, by the way, in matric, were writing their matric exams at that very time. So what they did was they formed a barricade to stop these protesters, or not these terrorists, the economic freedom fighters, from coming in and causing trouble at the school where their kids were writing the exams. Now, that gives you a bit of the background. So what happened was these EFF terrorists did arrive, and there was a bit of a confrontation. They had their asses whipped by the white parents who said, no, stay away from our kids. And I have to tell you, there were black parents amongst the white parents who actually helped push the economic freedom fighters' way. They didn't want anything to do with them. And if you're a parent, you can understand why when you look at the history of Julius Malema and his inciting violence. Now, a couple of the white parents were so incensed by the things that the EFF people were saying that they took a couple of swings, and thankfully they landed. And a couple of these EFF thugs had their egos bruised, and as I say, they retreated. But here comes the extraordinary thing, and I'm not joking. When the police arrived and they were going to sort out this whole thing, it turns out that the economic freedom fighters had been given a permit to protest outside the school. And when the police arrived on that day where there'd been this confrontation, the police pushed the parents from Brackenfell High School back because they were unlawful. Their gathering was unlawful because they didn't have a permit, when all they wanted to do was protect their kids. Okay, that gives you just a summary background, but it's pretty much exactly what happened. And I'll tell you what, if I was a parent with young kids in that school, I would have been in that group and I would have been pushing back on the EFF as well. But this is how absolutely ridiculous things in South Africa have become. I'm going to tell you what the update on all this is. Brackenfell High School has appealed to parents to remain calm amid the recent violence and public backlash over a private matric party that was reportedly only attended by white pupils. It has asked them to allow processes to unfold. In a letter to parents, the school announced that it would resume sensitivity and diversity training next year after the program was disrupted by the COVID-19 lockdowns. The school also said it deeply regretted the pain caused by confrontations over the matric party and subsequently hate speech on social media. The letter by Principal Gianni Muller and school governing body SGB Chairman Gualamani Smith said that the school condemned the hate speech and the violence that occurred near to the school in the wake of the allegations of racial exclusion at the party. The violence occurred on Monday when the EFF, or Economic Freedom Fighters, was prevented from protesting near the school following its meeting last Friday at the school over the allegations that the party was only attended by white pupils and some teachers. The school reiterated that it could not take responsibility for a private function organized without the school's involvement, mirroring what the Western Cape Education MEC's view was, that it was a private function, not a school function. However, the letter said, "However, we acknowledge and deeply regret the pain that it caused our learners, especially our learners of color." What pain? Believe me, a lot of the white matric students didn't attend that matric dance either, or matric party, because they couldn't afford it. Why is it students of color who are singled out as the ones who've been basically oppressed here? This is absolute. This is what pisses me off about the way this is reported and what the school has done. They should have called a spade and not called it an apple. This is absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, let's continue. The letter went on to say, "The SGB and staff of Brackenfell High School fully commit ourselves to participate in future discussions with learners as well as parents in order to ensure a constructive way forward." And they concluded by saying, "We hear the voices of our school community, and as a school we commit ourselves to listen better, be better, and do better." Now, let's just add to the story. These matriculants are among 95,427 matric candidates who are waiting exams or who are writing exams in the province. The letter continues, "We sincerely appeal to our parents, community members, as well as people from outside our community to refrain from involvement in any form of aggression or violence at or around the school premises. We fully acknowledge your concern as parents for the well-being and safety of your children, but we are confident that the police and other policing structures are fully equipped and able to deal with any eventuality which may take place around the school." Now, here's the problem. What happened at Senekal? And this is, I've got video footage of this. It's all there. What happened at Senekal is that in one of these areas designated to the white bikers, or the bikers, there were some black bikers as well, but this was designated exclusively to them. A branch of the EFF came into their territory, and there was not a policeman to be seen. And there was a standoff. You could actually, they were that close to each other, the EFF and the bikers. Huge standoff. Very, very explosive situation. Police missing in action. Can you understand why those parents might be concerned when you look at how incompetent and how corrupt the police in South Africa really are? Anyway, the letter continues. We implore you to exercise calmness and discipline, as any escalation in violence will only put our learners, your children, in danger and cause them unnecessary anxiety and distract from their examinations. Please allow the school the opportunity to address concerns and to plot a course towards reconciliation and healing. Reconciliation and healing? Over what? It's the economic freedom fighters who've gone in there, stirred up the pot and caused shit. That's what's happened. And they get a free pass. And the fingers are pointed at the white parents, largely the white parents, who are just out there protecting their own children. This is how ludicrous reporting in South Africa has become. Anyway, without providing specific details, the principal and chairperson said that as a result of a meeting with concerned parties in July, the school had started putting measures in place to facilitate diversity. The committee held its first meeting, but the program was disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Here are the measures that they're going to bring in to ensure diversity. Better communication. The girls' hair policy was amended after broad consultations and will be communicated. Speakers and external consultants are being sought to conduct ongoing sensitivity and diversity training with the staff and pupils next year. In other words, indoctrination. Training in diversity, sensitivity, and recognizing racism and discrimination will be taught as part of life orientation. Processes are being put in place to create safe spaces for voicing concerns and raising issues. Earlier this week, the Department of Education said that in June, the head of department wrote to all public schools indicating the absolute necessity for courageous and ongoing conversations in our schools about issues of racism, prejudice, and inclusivity. The schools were instructed to restate that they condemn racism and prejudice and that they support the South African Constitution and Bill of Rights. They were also asked to get specialist outside organizations to engage with school leadership groups to help direct the types of conversations needed. Now, I'm just going to leave you with this gobsmacker. The South African Human Rights Commission are now calling into this. They said they're going to investigate what happened at Brackenfell. What about Senekal? That gets a free pass. The South African Human Rights Commission is a racist, corrupt ANC arm of the gangster state. They are persecuting and targeting the minority, white community, colored community, Indian community, because the whole thing is corrupted. It's a joke. Now, as I've said at the very start of this video, if you don't believe what I'm saying, there's a lot of evidence on this channel. Go and look at the archive videos to do with Brackenfell and to do with Senekal. See for yourself what I'm talking about. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Ring the bell for the updates. Please like this video. Please share this video. And above all, please stay safe. Bye for now.